Hey everybody, here is Flosstube number 4, take 5. We have, first of all, it's Saturday, April 25th, 2020, and I'm recording this in the evening around 7 o'clock p.m. And we have, everybody just wrapped up their rowdiness. Every night at 7 o'clock, our neighborhood, we all converge out on the streets and make a racket, bang on pots and pans and honking horns, and there's trumpets and trombones and drums, and it's a big racket, and it's all in support of frontline workers during the pandemic. So that just wrapped up. And then we have a windstorm going on outside that's actually quite loud, and you might hear some howling in the background of this. And I think the wind has likely blown a tree over on one of our power lines because the power has been out now for about 20 minutes. So anyways, I'm going to attempt to record this. I'm tucked away in my bedroom here, and our dog might be whining a bit at the door because she feels like she's missing out on something and wants to be in here too. So I thought I would just quickly show you the 4 cross-stitch projects that I've been working on since I recorded last, and then I thought I would go through my bin of Stitch Mania possibilities. I have a bin of projects that are kitted up and I'm eager to start during Maynia this year, but I don't know, some days I'm feeling braver than others, and so it'll be good to go through these again and see what all is in here. And these are by no means all of my kitted projects. I have a few more bins of projects that are kitted and ready to start, but these are kind of I'd say probably about 20 of my favorites. And yeah, it'll be good to go through and see even what linens I have picked. And there's about five of them that I'm feeling really sure about starting and kind of have dates in mind for starting them, but the rest of them we'll see how brave I am when it comes down to it. So the last time I recorded, I had been working on the Portuguese bird sampler from Barbara Anna Designs. And so I worked a little bit more on that piece. And I finished the border. And even though I've modified this design a little bit to make it a square, I'm surprised at how big it's turning out to be. I don't always, when I see the stitch count on a design, let it really sink in what size that is. What is the stitch count on this? I don't know if I have that handy even. 275 by 335. So I guess what I have probably done is made it more like 275 by 275. Anyways, I guess in my head I thought this was kind of a quite a bit smaller design than it's turning out to be. So it'll take me a while at the rate I'm going to make some good progress on the Portuguese bird sampler. But that's just being stitched with DMC on 40 count alabaster linen from Zweigart. And alabaster linen is also known as silver moon. Sometimes it's labeled as silver moon. Oh, I had everything so nicely ironed and it's getting rumpled up here. Anyways, I tried. So then after I worked on the Portuguese bird sampler, I worked a little bit more on Barbara Anna's All Creatures Great and Small. Hey, I'm noticing a theme. So far, it's all Barbara Anna. And I worked on the bottom part there. I stitched the house and I stitched the hill. And it was a lot of fun stitching the hill, actually. I procrastinated a little bit, but when it actually came down to it, it didn't take very long to do that. And So this is being stitched with the called for anchor floss on 40 count fog linen from Picture This Plus. And I don't know if I've heard anyone else mention this before or have this complaint before, but this is my first time stitching with anchor floss, and I find that it kind of wears down quickly. It might be just the way I stitch too, so I have to use shorter lengths of floss when I'm stitching on this piece. And I remembered when I was partway through that I hoarded a bunch of Thread Heaven when they stopped making Thread Heaven. I went and hoarded a bunch of it, and so I've been using Thread Heaven to condition my floss, and that's been really helping too. But it just seems to fuzz up, and so I don't get as much mileage. Or maybe that's not the right way to say it, but you know what I mean. All right, after I stitched on that one, next up was, my memorial sampler that I'm stitching in memory of my mother. This is terrible to say. I kind of had to force myself to stitch on this one. And that's terrible to say. It's not that I don't, I mean, I miss my mom and think of her every day. But this particular piece, I think it's because I was kind of customizing it and making a few things up as I went. There was some thought required, and not even a ton of thought, but just a little bit of thinking and planning. And I don't have a software for cross-stitch designing, so I just was actually sketching out a few things on grid paper. And I think because of that, I just kind of really didn't look forward to working on it. But anyways, I finished the bands at the bottom, and I had to restitch this top section a crazy, like 2 or 3 times. I had to take this out and restitch it because I wasn't happy with how it was centered and the spacing of the letters and everything. So I'm calling this a finish. I really thought that with April 29th being the 5-year anniversary of my mom's passing, I thought maybe that on April 29th I would fully finish this, but I'm not sure if that's realistic or not with everything being so shut down. In my head, I've pictured finishing this, like mounting it on a shabby white shutter, wooden shutter. And yeah, I also need to think a little bit more about how I would finish it, but I might just have to linger for a little bit until I can get my hands on the right supplies to finish it and do it justice. But you might remember me mentioning in a previous video that this color, do I have the thread? Anyways, yeah, the tag is kind of tucked away, but this was my mom's favorite color, so maybe that was another reason why I kind of didn't look forward to stitching on it. It was my mom's favorite color, but it's not necessarily my favorite color, and so I don't know. I think I learned a lesson from this project, and I think if I was to do it again, I would actually stitch something that's already charted that I already love, and then just add like a sentiment on it to make it a memorial sampler. And actually, when I was looking on Hoffman distributing on their website, I noticed that ORITM has a memorial sampler, and if I would have known about that back in the day when I started this, I think I would have just stitched that with a different color palette than it's charted, and it's beautiful. Maybe I'll do that too, in addition to having done this one. So yeah, so that one can go in my bin of finishes. And then lastly, I stitched a little bit more on Plum Street Samplers, the Pink House sampler. And I've changed a few of the floss colors on this one, and I had really good intentions of showing some of my floss changes and had them out, but things are getting to be a bit of a disaster here. So when I finish stitching this, I will try and make a note of any of the floss changes. So yeah, so what I did was I finished stitching the pink house. Yeah, it took me longer than I thought actually, but I stayed up until 1:30 a.m. to finish that because I wanted to have it to that point at least before May. So I've made changes to this one, and really all I'm planning to do is to stitch all the grass at the bottom, and then for each side of the house I'm just going to do some of these vines with blossoms on them. I don't think I'm going to stitch this tree. We'll see. I'm thinking probably I like the look of this tall vine here and just do a few of them. Yeah, I always think of my grandma, and I've told you about my grandma before, who loves pink. I am especially missing her right now because her building is on lockdown, and so she can't have any visitors, and I've been able to have a few phone conversations with her, but it's just that knowing that you can't go and give her a hug, it just makes, I'm sad, but I'm also sad for her because she really, really loves her company, and when anybody stops in to see her, it just like brightens her day, and it means so much to her. So I think that's a hard thing for our older people right now with this pandemic, is it's very lonely for sure. All right, so my bin of Stitch Mania possibilities. And if this is something that doesn't interest you, I will encourage you to jump off right now. And there's going to be all sorts of disorder and crinkling, and yeah, there's no organization to what's coming up here. So I can see the first thing I'm pulling out of here is, yeah, one of the samplers I'm really, 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 really excited to start. I've actually almost started this a few times already this year, so yeah. Okay. Hands Across the Sea, samplers, Marianne Bournes. This, I don't want to lie, but this is my favorite Hands Across the Sea sampler. And it's probably in my top 5 favorite all-time samplers. So what I'm planning to do is I want to, well, it looks like I'm having a hard time deciding on linen, because in here I have 2 different pieces of 28 count fog linen from Picture This Plus, 2 different dye lots, where I would stitch it 1 over 1 on the 28 count. And that's really what I want to do with this one. I want to stitch it over 1, and I wouldn't stitch her name down here. I would just fill that in with grass. And I can't remember for over 1 stitching if there's anything else, maybe the year. Yeah, so my heart is really set on stitching that sampler over 1. That being said, my favorite linen so far that I've pulled with the DMC floss colors is this 36 count bramble from Picture This Plus. And every single order of bramble I've had, the color is different, but this is my favorite dye lot so far. It kind of has kind of a light pinky brown hue to it, and I'm not sure if I'll have any success at showing you the called for DMC, but they're very lots of browns and greens and kind of drab, well, autumn-like colors, I guess. It's kind of the colorway there, with a few more here that, but yeah. So I don't know. I really, really want to stitch it over one on like a 28 count. I don't know if it would be absolutely nuts to stitch it over one on 36 count. And then if I do stitch it on this 36 count, then I might want to do 2 over 2. That's what has caused me to hesitate and not start this the few times that I've pulled it out. It's just not being for sure and for certain about the fabric. But yeah, always love that sampler. I mean, it's not even that, the reproduction hasn't been out for super, super long, but every time I see it, I love it. Okay, what's next? Did you see that one already? I was going to save that one for the end, and somehow it was up at the front. Sneak peek maybe for some of you that might have seen that. All right, so this is in here, but this is one that I'm very cautious about starting. This is a full coverage piece. And I don't even know if I know the story on this one. I'm thinking it's a PDF design that I purchased on Etsy. There's something very appealing to me about a full coverage cross stitch. And I have started a few full coverage pieces, and there's just some times when that's what I feel like doing is full coverage. So I thought maybe I would have this one started, and if I ever get in that mood to stitch full coverage, I'd have this one to go to. Yeah, so it's Light Unicorn Designs would be the designer, and Raven is the name of it. Stitch count is 267 by 200, so it's not overly huge. These are the called for DMC. It's a big mess of DMC there. And I was thinking of stitching it on over one on Fog, 28 count Fog Lugana from Picture This Bliss. They do a really nice job with the dyeing of the Lugana. It just ends up being really tight fabric where you can see the holes when you need to for stitching, but when you stand back from it, it actually could be mistaken for a linen. It's so fine, and it has a really nice feel to it. Probably from the dyeing process, it's just kind of soft. Sorry, I feel like I'm kind of, I don't know, kind of sleepy doing this. I am really tired. I've been up several mornings this week at 5 o'clock because we have these birds in our yard. They're like a migratory bird from California, and they end up in our yard every spring. And every morning around 5 o'clock, they make such a racket. And I have a white noise machine that I sleep with, and I have earplugs, and even sometimes with both, there's just no sleeping past 5 o'clock. So not only was I up at 5 a.m., I had a really busy day. And I forced myself to go out and run, even though it's crazy windy. I went and ran around the lake, and the water was so choppy on the lake, it was like ocean. Like there's huge waves with white caps and everything. It could have been mistaken for an ocean. So that's my sad story. Okay, what do we have in here next? I know why this isn't going like I thought it was going to go, because I have this flipped around and it's kind of backwards to me. But anyways, one of the other samplers that is in this bin of Stitch Mania possibilities is Maria Finney from Shakespeare's Peddler. Now, I was part of the club with, oh my goodness, I can't even remember the name of the club, so maybe I shouldn't even mention that I was part of the club. So I received this as a club piece last year, and all the called for threads, and I think it came with, well, I had requested 40 count, and so they sent me 40 count straw linen from Weeks Dye Works, which is a lovely, I love the color of straw linen for sure. And then I pulled this one. Oh my goodness, I'm really failing at keeping my linens labeled and everything. I think this might be, I don't know, what do you think? Is it like Meadow Rue, or is it a, it looks like it's a Lakeside linen. I'm thinking it might be Meadow Rue. So that's what I was going to stitch Maria Finney on. The colors are so beautiful. I really like the color palette in this one. Oh, mine are such a jumbled mess right now. My favorite way to organize my floss when I actually start something, like when it's at this stage, it's not always, I don't have everything very organized, but my favorite way to organize my threads is with floss away bags. I realize it's not as maybe aesthetically pleasing as having all the floss on a ring with everything labeled, but I don't know. I like the practicality of stuffing little cut pieces of thread and little leftover bits into the floss away bags. So these are the colors. I like those blues, especially. Yeah. So maybe that will be a start during Maynia. I have a couple samplers on my lap now, and it's like, did I show them or did I not show them? I'm so tired right now. Oh, and you know what I was thinking of doing? This is probably breaking some sampler rules, and there's probably some people that would just have a heart attack at the thought of doing this, but you know, the cherubs on the Maria Finney sampler, yeah, I'm getting a low battery warning. They're kind of like a big blob of white, and I mean that's the way they were stitched, and so that was the way they were reproduced. But I was actually tempted to take the cherubs off of this Betty Glover sampler from Hewitt Hill, and I was thinking of maybe stitching these in the place of those other ones. I don't know, possibility. That's why I have that one kind of side by side in there, because that was my thoughts. Okay, I better hurry up because my phone battery, when I get the little warning, it goes down fast. Okay, next up, I have the Elizabeth Jones sampler from La Di Da. I'm pretty sure this was a market release last year. Nashville Needlework Market 2019. These are the called for DMC that I have in here. Ooh. And what fabric do I have? .40 count Bramble from Picture This Plus. And where did that other piece of Bramble go? Like, see, another dye lot entirely. But I like the brambles that are kind of this Some of them are more green and some of them have a little bit more red in them, and I like the ones that are a little bit more red. That's not very exciting. A pile of DMC on it, linen. Anyways, this is exciting though. Love this sampler. It's cute. And 221 by 223, not a huge piece. All right, speed things up, shall we? Next, I have Barbara Anna Designs, The Fall, and Lori from Mischievous Stitches is working on this right now. I think she's still working on this. I've always really liked this piece. Well, as you can tell, I'm a big Barbara Anna fan. I have a linen in here that is, oh my goodness, unlabeled. That's so bad. I have an unlabeled mystery linen in here with the called for DMC. There's some fun colors in this one, like these greens. That's what that is. I can't believe it. I'm thinking this is a silk weaver linen. It just feels like a silk weaver. It's kind of soft. Why don't I have it labeled? It looks like it could be a 46 count. So we'll call that a 46 count mystery linen. That's not good. I'm really failing. Okay, next. Next I have Mary Nell's 1824, The Finding of Moses sampler from GGR. Right? Yeah, GGR. I really like this sampler. I saw somebody working on it on Instagram, I believe was my first time seeing it, and then I read about it in the Attic newsletter, and I ended up ordering this from the Attic a while ago, last year. And I had them kitted up with the called for week's dye work and gentle art, gentle art flosses. And they sent me they actually sent me like a 30 count legacy linen or something. And I can't remember why I did that. I'm thinking I was going to stitch it over a 1 on 30 count is probably why I had them do that. But I've reconsidered, and now I've got a 40 count vintage lentil from Lakeside. And these are really going every direction here. There's some colors. Yeah, I don't know what I feel about, like, what are these? Roasted marshmallow. Caramel corn. Phew, these are big. These are like 10-yard skeins. There's a lot of that color in the sampler, I'm thinking, because there's 4 10-yard skeins on 40 count. That's a lot. And 4 10-yard skeins of this one. Maybe they sent me the floss as if I was stitching it 2 over 2 on that 30 count linen, because that seems like a lot. And that's probably twice as big as I'm thinking it. 257 by 237. Okay, move along, shall we? Move along. Move along. Lots of browns. There's like 1, 2, 3, like 4 different shades of brown in that sampler. Did I show this one? I'm sorry, everybody, if I'm repeating myself. So this is the Elizabeth Biggs sampler, 1833 from GGR. I really love this sampler. I'm really intimidated by the border. That's what this is why I'm reluctant to start. I'm just, oh, that border. It's beautiful, but oh my, life is short, and I might spend too many hours working on that border. We'll see. All right. Nobody will be surprised with this next one. I've shown this before and hinted that it might be a Maynia start. Martha Pudsey from the Scarlet House. So cute. I have a Martha Pudsey stitch, a needle minder from Zappy Dots. Is that what they're called? Oh my goodness. Time for bed. It's one of my favorite needle minders. All right, so after I saw Michelle Farm Girl stitching her Martha Pudsey with the silks, I'm like, oh, I might just have to get the silks. And so I ordered the silks from NPI. Their service was incredible. I ordered them on a Monday. I think I received them on a Wednesday. They shipped them super fast, considering everything is so slow currently to arrive. So very impressed with NPI, and I will be selling NPI silks on my website. I'm not going to stock them, but I can order them as needed. So there's the, oh my goodness, there's the colors. And these are the two linens that I obviously am having a hard time narrowing it down to just one of them. I've got 36 count Lakeside Vintage Wood Smoke is the darker one. And then this other one is 40 count Vintage Flagstone from Lakeside. I'm leaning towards Flagstone, but to be determined. And while I was ordering the silks for Martha Pudsey, I ordered the silks for Jane Cowie, also from the Scarlet House. I love that she charts, or she uses needlepoint silks in her reproductions. Ooh, I just realized something. Oh, I know why. There's no linen in here, but that's because I've ordered the cocoa linen from Weeks Dye Works, so hopefully that arrives. That's actually something I had forgotten about. That might delay me starting this. I might have to start this at the end of May because I haven't even received a notification yet that they've shipped the linen to me. So so this was stitched on, I'm pretty sure it was stitched on 46 count. Yeah, 46 count cocoa linen, but that was stitched on the old, as far as I can tell, it was stitched on the Weeks Dye Works on the older base. Now Weeks is using a Zweigart base, and when I went to order the cocoa linen, it's not available in 46 count. Only 40 count was the highest available. So I ordered 40 count cocoa. And I think those colors are going to look lovely on cocoa linen. Oh, I'm so excited to start this one. I feel like, yeah, this needs to be a stitch along. Oh, it's getting dark in here. That happened really quickly too. I wonder if I should try turning some lights on, or if that'll just make it worse. Oh, power outage, Shelly. You can't turn the lights on. Isn't it crazy what we take for granted every time? We don't have a ton of power outages, but every time it does happen, it's like you're in the habit of switching the lights on and switching appliances on, and nothing's working. Okay, I'm excited to show you guys this next one. Erica Michaels, the Mary Haven Sampler, 1837. This was one of my first sampler purchases, reproduction purchases. I've had this one for a while. It's time to stitch it. Oh, it's really getting dark. It's like, record this now or never, because it's going to be really dark. Okay, well, this isn't exciting. I have the threads all in their floss away bags, and I've made quite a few substitutions. But I don't know, there's something really cute about the sampler. It's very endearing. I love the border. I really like the colors in it are different. It's different. And 246 by 244. Maybe that's why I like it. It's square. Yeah. Okay. And the linen I've chosen is Picture This Plus Tyco. Okay. This is one of my favorite samplers that I'm going to show you here. Sarah Woodham, 1770, from Shakespeare's Peddler. One of my favorite samplers. I love the border. I love the verse. Love the colors. Love, love, love. But I do hesitate to start this one maybe with all of the other samplers on the go, because the border alone will take me a while. So again, I've got the flosses all in their floss away bags. You'll just have to take my word for it. They're lovely colors. I made a few substitutions. And then this linen is a Silk Weaver 40 count driftwood. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing an end in sight. So I won't be sitting here completely in the darkness by the end of the video, hopefully. Oh, okay, so this is fun. It's not, the picture on here isn't going to show up very well. But I've seen a lot of people finish this recently. The Forget Me Not sampler from Brenda Gervais. And I ordered this little kit from Country Stitches. Yeah, I did. I ordered this directly from Brenda's website, Country Stitches. It comes with a 35 count linen, the 8 skeins of Weeks Dye Works, and the chart. I'm thinking of substituting the linen and stitching this on ale, 40 count ale from Picture This Plus. And I'd like to finish it in a drum. I've never done that before, so maybe I'll even just finish the stitching and then send it away to somebody who can work the magic. But I just see that being a really cute little drum piece. And I'm not even sure if Lisa, Kindred Stitcher, maybe finished hers in a drum. I feel like somebody's done it, and I just need to do it too. All right. All right, so this, I know I mentioned on another, I think I mentioned it last time, and then I didn't have it to show you. So the Louisa Mollett sampler. And this is from Samplers Forever. So she's an Italian designer, and she did this reproduction. I've just ordered a bunch of her reproductions, and I just need to get them on the website, but I received them the other day. And it's actually surprising to me that I can have something shipped from Italy and receive it quicker than some parts of Canada and the States. I couldn't believe it. I had an order from 123 Stitch that took like 6 weeks to get to me. It sat, and I was tracking it, and it sat in LA for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm like, come on. So the Louisa Mullet sampler, I did some floss substitutions, and I was a little bit surprised to see this lavender color. I'm like, whoa, where does that fit in? Because, you know, the picture is really, really dark and hard to even make sense of it. But there's a teeny bit amount, like really small amounts of the lavender in a few of the flower pots or something. So it's not going to be like a prominent color in the sampler. But like these, this one, definitely these two colors are in the flowers. These two big, oh, power. Yeah, so there's like the peachy colors up at the top here. Anyways, and what linen do I have picked for that one? I'm pretty sure it's Vintage Meadow Rue. Wow, I feel like maybe when I opened some of these fabrics up, I was really careless. Oh no, I put the sticker on here. So it's 40 count Vintage Meadow Rue from Lakeside. Love that linen. Love those floss colors. Can't wait to start that one. So that's definitely one of the for sure starts. And last but not least, oh no, there's a few more actually. So it's not last. I've shown this before, the Berry Bowl sampler. This is a for sure start for May 1st. March is gone. These are the linens that I had shown that I'm going to be stitching this together with Linda Spalding. We are going to stitch and swap. And like a few others have mentioned, me and Linda stitch opposite to each other. And I'm just excited. I think that'll add a lot of character and make it really obvious that we've each stitched a part of it. So May 1st, and if you follow the hashtag on Instagram, Berry Bowl Sal, you can join in on that. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's linen choices. And the stitch along is hosted by Hollis Hands Create and Blue Bonnets and Whiskey. All right. Goodness, I have had this ink circles design kitted for so long. Maybe I'll actually get it started during Mania. I really like this. It's the circle design. And I have had this kitted with several different fabrics over the years. I will say years because I think it's probably been about 3 or 4 years I've had this kitted. But now what I have in here is 36 count chalkboard linen from Extrude Design. And a whole lot of Weeks Dye Works White Lightning. Okay, this makes me feel a little bit guilty, like I should take some of these skeins and put them in the shop, because I think White Lightning is one of the colors that I'm out of right now. You know what, when I opened the store, I was really naive to how difficult it would be to keep everything in stock. I have been, well, the pandemic hasn't helped anything, but I have been trying since November of last year to order the new DMC spinning fixture with all the full set of DMC, it has been crazy. And then they sent me all of the floss, so I had all of the DMC floss in this huge box. And you know, I forget how many colors of DMC there are currently. I think it's like 478, and then their color variations and all of those. And then I had this big box of DMC, but the spinning fixture was the problem. Then I kept trying to get a shipping update on that. And then they were going to try sending it from the States, and then they were looking overseas. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up having to return my DMC. That's the only way that they would refund me for the fixture and the floss. And so I don't have DMC currently. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But not only that, so yeah, well, Gentle Art is completely shut down right now. So a lot of their colors are back ordered. There are certain colors from Classic Colorworks that I've been waiting a long time. And the way it works, you have to just keep reordering them and reordering them and reordering them. They don't keep track of what you've ordered. So I've been trying for months to get some of those colors back in, but I don't know. I feel like this pandemic hasn't helped anything, but it's been a real struggle to keep flosses stocked, for sure. But it's going to get better. I know most of the colors that I've been out of Weeks Dye Works are on their way to me, because I've just learned to order directly from Weeks Dye Works and not through distributor. I was getting really frustrated, and everything should be restocked in May, but it's just hard to be patient. I know a lot of people have been wanting to kit up their projects for Mania. I've seen a lot of the same colors requested. I think one day last week I had combined orders for like 40 skeins of Weeks Dye Works Garrison Green. So that must be a really common color in whatever you all are stitching. Okay, I think I have shown everything except for I've saved the best for last. So Frances Eden, 1809. I am planning to start this as a birthday start on May 29th. I ordered my chart. You know what? I thought this was going to be a unicorn chart, and I thought it was going to be so hard to find. I ended up just maybe about a year and a half ago calling the attic. Is there any chance you can get your hands on a Frances Eden sampler? And they sent it to me. It didn't even seem like it was that big of a deal, but I don't know if that's still the case. Anyways, my chart came without, it has a thread legend, but it doesn't have the symbols, which was kind of odd. But I just posted an SOS on Facebook or somewhere. Does anybody have the symbols that go with the thread legend for Frances Eden? And it was only a matter of minutes, and somebody had messaged me. I mean, they sent me a screenshot or whatever, but I printed it out and that's what it looks like. But now I can at least make sense of the chart. I love the Frances Eden sampler. It might be, I'm reluctant to say my favorite reproduction, but it's definitely top of the list. And so it's charted in DMC, and I realized that this is going to be a big mess of floss here. So what I did was I pulled the called for DMC, and then I converted them all to overdyed cottons. I just wanted it to have a little extra something. I didn't want it to be, although the called for DMC are beautiful. It's a very cheerful sampler. Like, Frances Eden was having fun with her colors in this one. Okay, well, that's not very beautiful, is it? But you're just gonna have to take my word. There's reds, there's pinks, there's greens, purple, blue, yellow, orange, and the linen I'm very excited to be stitching it on is Cameo, 40 count Cameo linen from Silkweaver. And it's a very light neutral sampler linen with just a little bit of a peach hue, kind of like what I had chosen to stitch my Peaceful Paradise on. So Frances Eden is happening. If anybody else has Frances Eden kit and you're planning to start, you can stitch along with me. May 29th. Yeah. I don't know why, and I think I've heard someone else express this before on Flosstube, that some of your absolute favorite pieces are the ones that you kind of like hold off making a start on them, and I'm not sure why. It's almost like they're so special or so revered that you don't want to get anything wrong, as far as you don't want to make the wrong choice with your fabrics, or I don't know. Just one theory. Anyways, this is really interesting. I'm not even sure if this will get posted. It started out, it was sunny in here. Now it's dark and gloomy in here. We had the windstorm going on. We had a power outage going on. And we had Shelly being like half asleep. But one thing I did with this video is I got a mic, because I did have somebody comment that they were having a hard time hearing me. So hopefully the mic has helped with the volume issue. My kids think I'm loud, but maybe I'm not very loud. Anyways, thanks for joining me. If you hung around this long, oh my, like 52 minutes, that's a lot of talking from me. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, being a part of my cross stitch family. See you again on the next video.